Do you know how it feels to be ignored when you're crying out for help? Folks saying, oh, you're just doing that for attention.
Level uploading, level uploading, level uploading. Hi everybody, welcome back to Level Uploading, Fight Feelings, Face Facts with yours truly. I do have a special guest for you guys today. We have the lovely Tatti the Sunflower Poet here. Everybody say hi,
Hi,
Tatti.
y'all.
So we have been struggling over here, y'all. We've been having technical difficulties, but we still gonna get this thing done, and that's on period. So, Tati, welcome. Thank you so much for being on my show today. I was definitely glad to hear you, to see that you had reached back out to me about being on the platform.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we move on to the topic of today?
Well, my name is Tati, aka the Sunflower Poet. I'm a spoken word artist. I have a candy business, and I also work in the mental health field that I have been doing since I was 16 years old.
Okay, wow. That's what's up. Helping people with poetry, and you're helping people behind the scenes too. So that's always a dope thing. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about poetry today. So I wanted to jump in and kind of figure out, how did you get in? Well, when did you get into poetry? And also, like, how?
I started writing when I was 12,
Okay.
and I got into it simply by the movie Poetic Justice.
Period. A classic.
Yes, ma'am.
So you just was it like, how sometimes, okay, well, especially with spoken word, was it like the rhymey kind at first and then you evolved to more deeper, or like how did it kind of evolve?
See, when I got shown the movie Poetic Justice, I
Mm-hmm.
took one of Maya Angelou's poems,
Mm-hmm.
which was her poem Alone, and I wrote my own version of that.
To
And
kind of like revamped, like remixed it basically.
yes,
Okay, I get it. I mean, I know for myself personally, when I saw you in some of the places here in Nashville, I saw you doing like some stuff about what was it? Was it Mike Brown?
yeah.
It was, I saw like it was very powerful, but it was like you had like such a sweet, it was like sweet, and then next thing you know, you were going off. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It was like 1 minute it was like, oh, hi everybody, and then you went ham. So I definitely think you have a lot of power for sure in your poetry. Definitely very thought provoking. So how would you actually like describe your poetry?
To me, my poetry is real. It's relatable to people, because some of the things I talk about, far as like, for example, being born addicted to crack cocaine.
Okay.
It's a lot of people out here that have either put their kids through that or they have been victims of that themselves, but they don't have that voice to, express themselves. So I feel like for people that have gone through those things, I can be that voice for them.
Yes. Okay. So if you had to, I mean, obviously that's a very, very powerful mission statement for sure. I mean, not even just about the actual like drug part of it, but just being a voice for people who don't have a voice. Like that's so strong. And then you add to it the fact, the actual meaning behind it, and it just takes it to a whole another level.
Mhm.
Okay, if you could describe your poetry in 3 words, what would it be?
Authentic, raw, and powerful.
I like it. Okay. So, of course, obviously, with you being in the Nashville area, I've gotten a chance to see you perform in many different places. I remember when we were going to like others, like what do you call it, the Poets Playground, and
Yes,
I've seen you
ma'am.
like in different little places all around the town. So how
Was
did
you at
you?
that Jefferson Street one?
I went to that
Okay.
one too. Yep, for sure. Yeah. I listen. One thing about me, I'm gonna be where the poetry is at. The poetry, the loud music, I'm always like, you'll probably always see me somewhere peeking.
Okay.
So how did you develop the courage, to be able to not only, I mean, of course, we all have to grow into being who we are now, but how did you develop the courage to, write such powerful, emotional pieces, like, and actually go up there and speak out?
Well, I used to do piano, singing, and dance, so being on the stage was nothing new for me.
Okay.
Now when it comes down to poetry, like for example, my warrior poem, that was the first poem I had wrote about something like really, really deep.
Mm-hmm.
That piece right there, it took me a little minute to perform it because, during that time I haven't forgiven my mother.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I wrote that piece and when I was finally able to perform it, it's like I had to force myself to tap back into that little girl when all of those feelings was suppressed so many years.
Yeah.
So,
That's like how we kind of cope sometimes, like just push it down so I can make it through the days. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have to,
right,
that's our body and our minds like way of like protecting itself in a sense. Because otherwise we'll
yeah.
go crazy off, some of these things. Have you ever gotten emotional at all while you were performing, or did you just wait till
Too
after?
many times. I got emotional too many times.
Like having to stop and like regroup yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I personally have never really gotten super, super deep. I've had the pleasure of hearing your poetry, so I know, some of the things you talk about, and they are very intense for sure. So I imagine that it has to be like you're practicing because I know that you memorize your poetry as well, like a real poet. I'm not saying
Yes.
nothing wrong with the people who don't remember them. Sometimes you don't always.
Shout out to the poet has spoken.
Hey, he was on here too. He was a guest here not too long ago, so definitely a
I
huge shout
seen
out
him.
to the poet. Yes, but okay, so obviously that's a good segue. You have people in the community who have kind of taken you under their wing, or not even taking you under their wing, but like just showing you a lot of love, encouraged
Yeah,
you in your poetry, and that helped because like even myself, like I wouldn't consider myself a poet. I do poetry here and there. Like, I've performed at the Poets Playground and things like that. But I know as a person who calls himself a poet and really is about that life, I know that it's important for you to have that community.
right.
So, how has poetry changed the way that you handle like struggle and the, life's happy times and life's trials and tribulations? Like, I want both. Like the good stuff. How does poetry play into the good stuff? How does poetry play into the stuff that's a little bit, trash that we all have to experience at some point?
Like you said previously in your previous comment, poetry has a coping mechanism for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is with me is like I made a post yesterday on Instagram. I said that it's crazy how a poet's words can heal the listener but not the speaker.
Mm,
So it's like that's what I'm having trouble with
that's
because I've
deep.
been so focused on, my words touching the people and healing whatever it is they're going through that they may
Mm-hmm.
not talk about. But is it really healing me at the same time, knowing that, my words are even touching these people? Like,
Right.
what is it doing for me as well?
Like you want to get something out the deal too. I mean, it's nothing wrong with helping others, but you also need to get some healing and find some peace,
Yeah,
within and the act of, writing the poetry. So that's something that you're struggling with, like just trying to find that authentic, like where it's I'm touching my audience, but I'm also being raw and uncut with myself and getting it out there.
right.
Do you find that you like hold back a little bit, do you think, in your poetry?
Oh no, I don't
Okay,
never
that's
hold back.
okay. Well, that's good. That's good. That's good. Well, that's good. I mean, because sometimes it's like it can be raw and uncut to us, but it might be even more raw and uncut on your end that you might be like, okay, I ain't gonna give it to them like that. They ain't ready for they're not ready for this. But okay, well, that's good. I'm glad you don't hold back because that's gonna help you to be able to. Hopefully, that'll help you to be able to get some of that stuff off your chest. A lot of times, and not just even with poetry, sometimes just talking about stuff and not letting it sit on your heart can be such a big deal. It's so crazy how freeing, like just speaking up about stuff. Because you don't need, it's so many people who you perform in front of who, like you said, probably go through the same thing, have done it themselves.
Right.
You will never know. They'll never tell you. They'll be like, you did a good job. Not even knowing that in their head, they're like, wow, wait a minute, I put my babies through this, or, this was done to me. So yeah, you're definitely, I mean, touching people, but doing it in a way that is going to leave a lasting impression. I think that's the most important part with it for sure. But you are important too. So don't forget about yourself. Do not forget about yourself, okay? So what do you want people to like remember about your poetry? Like do you feel like you have a mixture of sad and or like empowered? Like what's your poetry style?
Well, as I've been listening to my poetry, I realize like I'm more of a storytelling poet,
Okay.
but it's stories based on events that have actually happened in my life. So my poetry is a mixture of sad, ratchet. It's a mixture of different things.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on whatever is on my mind. And I'm the type of person like if I'm going through something and if that something is constantly on my mind, the only way I can get it off is if I write about it.
Wow. That's powerful that you have that as an outlet though, because you got to think about so many people, they run to, drinking or smoking or,
Yeah.
all these different avenues. And that's not to say that you have never did those things either, but I'm just saying like to have a set thing that is healthy that you can do,
Mhm.
that is such a powerful thing. And I think we all should focus on trying to find hobbies and purpose that can actually help us get stuff off our chest instead of bottling it up or trying to forget it. That's what we always do, is try to push things down and then it slowly starts to explode.
Because money, sex, and drugs ain't gonna heal your wounds.
Man, you could think that if you want to, but a lot of people have tried and it show the proof is in the pudding. It does not work. It
Right.
does not work for real. So do you have any other outlets other than like the poetry that kind of help you like to balance out life and the different things that you have going on?
Just working. That's all I do is if
Work
I'm not
and poetry.
if I'm not writing, I'm at work. If I'm not at work, I'm at home writing something.
Wow. Okay. Well, she said, listen, that's all it is. What do you want to come from the poetry? Like, is there a goal? Is there an end goal? Is there like,
I want to write a book,
okay,
and I want it to be called A Story of a Warrior.
okay.
That's my goal. Yeah.
So like a poetry book or just like an actual, like a memoir or,
A poetry
okay, okay, okay. Don't be telling them your title, girl. They gonna try to steal.
book.
They gonna try to steal your title.
I said it first.
Right. Listen, it's copywritten, okay? Have you started that? Is that something that you're working on? Or do you like what's the process with that?
That's the problem. I don't know where to start with it. I don't know where to go.
So have you started the poems already and you already kind of got that part
Yes,
started? So now you
yes.
just basically now it's like getting it published and all that stuff. Have you ever looked into
hmm
self-publishing? Like as a
I have, but and then I was working on, trying to get my poems either copywritten or
hmm.
trade marketed. But the website that I was going on, they trying to charge me $3,000
Oh wow.
just to get my poems copywritten. I was like, yeah, I don't know about this.
And if I'm not mistaken, and do not quote me on this, I am not a professional. Okay, don't don't quote me on this. But I believe like now, like copyright, that stuff was a little bit different. Like when before the internet, it's like now once
hmm
you put out something and you are the original poster and you're the original person, like certain sites, like even for instance, like with YouTube, if I put out something on YouTube, that's my work. You know what I mean? Like nobody
Right.
can say that that's theirs. Like even if my face is not on it and it's my voice, like that's my stuff. It's like a unofficial copyright. But I definitely get it, especially with you putting it out in the book. You want to have it done properly. So
hmm
I hope you find the resources, sis, for sure. I mean, if anybody out there, if you guys know a way or what the next step should be, definitely gonna have Tati's all her socials so you can reach out. Listen, it takes a village. So if y'all know the answers, let her know. Okay,
Please
well,
do.
well, I am definitely thankful that you shared about, some of the struggles and the things that you like to write about. Is there anything else that you want to say as far as your journey in the poetry world?
The poetry world is not always peaches, candy corns, and rainbows. You're gonna have ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
but coming there with a positive mindset and focus on yourself, you will be just fine.
Amen. I feel like that applies to everything, not just for poetry. Low key, that applies. That's a whole word for the day. Okay, that applies to everything.
Yep.
So, Sunflower Poet, would you do the honor of gracing the podcast with one of your pieces?
Sure. I'll do my new one that I
Okay,
just wrote
we
like,
getting exclusive. Okay, I like
yes,
it.
ma'am. I just wrote it like about 3 weeks ago now. It's on
Okay,
my Instagram.
okay.
Okay, it's called Save Me From Myself. I be that pretty girl they call Sunflower, and poetry be my therapy, bringing life to me by recomposing my decomposed vulnerability. See, I was taught not to tell when things happen due to a person's retaliation. And even though I have 5 Deuce Crips and GDs in my family tree, my kin association to the streets didn't always keep me safe. I remember being in them fields asking girls to catch my fade, then running home due to shame just to drown in my depression so my wrist could catch the blade. Yo, let me ask y'all a question though. Do you know how it feels to be ignored when you're crying out for help? Folks saying, oh, you're just doing that for attention. Those words now being a constant retention trapped inside my memory, confined mind. Family members showing me lack of empathy, and now for some reason, when I get asked what's wrong with me, I feel weird and I lie. And I say that I'm fine, but in my mind, I'm thinking, if you only knew. I was on the floor with bawling eyes, praying to the Most High God for Him to come be my remedy due to my soul being in jeopardy. Word digging deep into my soul like a corkscrew to a wine bottle, pouring out of mouths just as smooth as Tennessee whiskey, warm like a glass of brandy. Word being like a promise, meat being remains of strange fruit after being crushed and extracted of its once good juice. Self harm unknowingly became my addiction. But for years I was fighting to not be like my mother by trying to avoid being strong on the same drug of crack cocaine. But I guess we all have our own ways of trying to heal our pain. For me, I was simply trying to save myself from me.
Woo, girl, that was good. Yes, we love it for sure.
Appreciate you.
Go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you on social medias. I am going to have it in the description and on the screen, but let everybody know where we can find you at.
Okay, y'all can follow me at Tati underscore the underscore sunflower underscore poet. And Tati is spelled Tatti.
Okay. All right. Well, Tati, I appreciate you so much for being here. I love the poem for sure. Thank you so much. I
Thank
am so
you.
glad that you came on the platform, and I know that you are going to continue to do great things in not only Nashville, but in the world. We
Hmm.
claiming it, right?
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
want to be a travel poet.
For real, because honestly, it's so many things that's going on. And then one thing I like about Nashville is that we're close to so much stuff. Like we're close
Yeah.
to Atlanta, we're close to like Alabama. Like you could just be all around like the general area and then start going other places too. You know what I mean? Like far out. So your girl, your name gonna be out there. I already see it. we just
Okay,
gotta
thank
we
you.
just gotta claim it for sure.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being on. And this has been another episode of Level Upload and Fightful and Face Facts. Guys, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.